good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you are watching this. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And welcome to your latest Forest news. And welcome to the worst, best kept secrets in Nottingham Forest for the last 6 months, as Gustavo Scarpa has been officially announced. As we told you on Friday, he would be over the weekend. Medical done yesterday. Scarpa in the beautiful red. Look at him. Look at him. Guys, comment down below. Are you as excited as me about Scarpa? Are you like desperate to see him on the pitch? Just let me know down below. I've made my feelings very clear in the Forest forum yesterday with big up to Ez and big up to Ant as well. If you haven't seen that, please go check out the convo we had yesterday. As always, it was great fun. But let's talk about Scarpa and let's give you all the details on this gem of a signing. All right, so basically all the details are the same as I told you in the video. I think it was Friday. Scarpa joining for 3.5 years. He's on about 118, I think, K a week. And he's just... I don't know where to start. I don't want to get overexcited. Well, I'm already overexcited. I can't lie to you guys. This, as I mentioned yesterday on the Forest Forum, for me, this is the most excited I've been about a signing since Pierre van Hooijdonk. Yes, I know I'm going back a few years. But what was the most excited signing you've been or have been over in the recent Forest years? I'm going back that far. Someone correct me. I'm sure there's a couple of gem players that I've forgotten about. But let me know down below. Should I be getting as overexcited as I am? The answer to that, I think, honestly, is yes. Because, look, as was mentioned in the comments yesterday, we haven't had too much to get excited about this season. Honestly, we haven't. If you're really objective about it, there's been some bad performances, there's been some okay performances, and there's been, of course, the Liverpool performance as well. Outside of that, I feel like I've had this inner, like, Wolverine inside me that's wanted to come out and just have something to celebrate. And for me, he's gonna lift the spirits of this club beyond belief, not only with what he brings on the pitch, but the sheer like stuff that he's doing off the pitch. I've been finding so entertaining the way he's just brushed into Nottingham and he's made it his home. The way he's talked about how many skate parks are around, the way he's just gone out and explored. I love that kind of attitude. But the difference between him and other characters like him is that he can perform and produce on the pitch. A lot of people have said to me, what are you basing all of this on? Are you really telling us you've been an avid fan of the Brazilian Football League? The answer to that is no. But I've done a lot of research about him. But on top of that, more importantly than that, this community is not just a Forest community. Of course, Forest is our core, but we attract other Premier League fans and other international football fans, of which Palmeiras, and shout out to all the Palmeiras fans watching. Love you guys and love how you've been so like giving us loads of information on Scarpa. I really appreciate everything you've said. And how respectful they've been about the transfer as well. They love this guy. There's not one Palmeiras fan who's turned to me or talked to me and said anything but positive about him. And he's just going to be, according to them, a huge, huge miss for them. They loved him on the pitch. They loved him off the pitch. They love everything about him. And to me, that speaks more volumes than any YouTube reels you may have watched about Scarpa or any posts or clips you have seen. Listen to the fans. Look, a lot of people say, what do fans know? I say fans know because of passion. Fans have that passion for the club and the players. And when a fan base is sad to see a player go, that tells you everything you need to know. But not are they just sad to see him go, it's the insight they're providing. They're talking about how he can play in multiple positions. He's even played at left back again when they played against Chelsea, and he did a cracking job there. He has said himself how he's worked on his defensive side of the game, which shows to me that was probably a weakness a couple of years ago, and he's worked on it. So he's a player that's looking to improve, which is exactly what we want in, that attitude in our players. So overall, I couldn't be happier with this. And something I mentioned yesterday that I think has huge importance and huge significance is the fact that the rest of the Premier League don't know him. And that gives us a hidden advantage. What do I mean by that? You can look at it from two perspectives. If you take Brentford last season, for example, when they came into the Premier League, as the unknown promoted team, a lot of teams struggled with their style of football, with the way they played, because they weren't expecting it. Look at their result. I think they beat Arsenal in the opening game of the season. And it took teams a bit of time to kind of suss them out and figure out how to play against them. That's on a team basis. In terms of individuals, unknowns that come into the Premier League that have an instant impact, and then it takes the other teams a while to adapt to them. Look at Bruno coming in for Newcastle last season and how he just dragged them out of the mud by himself. Look at the other Bruno Fernandes. Look, I hate Man U, but credit where it's due. When Bruno Fernandes first came to Man U, he was an unknown entity and he was scoring and assisting for fun. And then he got sussed out and people and teams figured out how to defend against him or cut off, his strengths, etc. And that's what we've got to play on. I can't underline how important a point that is, that we have to unleash Scarpa as soon as we can. And the first game we can do that in will be Chelsea in the league, because obviously the signing starts at the start of January. So we unleash him, we let him run riot. And that run of games we have after the Chelsea matches, I know we've said this before when we played Bournemouth, when we've played Fulham, etc. But the run we've got coming up after the Man U and Chelsea game is winnable. Now, I'm not saying that I think we're going to win those matches, but unleashing Scarpa on those teams, that could be the X factor that we need. On top of that, he's going to drag the other players up with him as long as he hits the ground running. There is no reason for him not to hit the ground running. He speaks the language. The quality speaks for itself in terms of his football. But on top of that, he's already match fit. He's coming off the back of a full season in the Brazilian league. Therefore, there's no excuses not to start him, in my opinion. My main concern will be towards the end of the season. Would he have played too much football? He would have done a year and a half's worth of a season. So we do need to factor that in, or should I say Cooper and the boys in management need to factor that in as well. But let's not have a slow blooding of him, in my opinion. Do you guys agree or not? The real question as well, and we've touched on this in a couple of times, but I'm going to touch on it again, is how does he work within this team? Who has to make way for Scarpa to be put into that team? Firstly, I guess the first question is, do you put him straight into the team? My answer is yes. You guys obviously may agree or disagree, as always. Chuck them in the comments. I love going through what you guys think. But on top of that, how does he fit in? What's his best position, etc.? So I'll quickly remind you, he can play anywhere across the middle three, be it a cam, be it out on the right, be it out on the left. For me, I think it has to be out on the right because he does like to cut in and cross the ball or shoot from distance as well, which is huge for us. And by de facto, that would mean in the scenario I'm playing out, that Brennan Johnson would be the one who needs to be dropped. Now, I've done nothing but back Brennan Johnson all season, but I feel now it's come to a stage of the year where the question has to be asked, has Brennan Johnson performed well enough guarantee or warrant himself a starting place in that Forest 11? And we have seen over the last few games before the World Cup, he was a bit in and out of the team, which I actually thought helped him and unlocked him a little. A lot of people, I think Ez mentioned it yesterday in the Forest Forum, said that they felt he was holding himself out for the World Cup, making sure he was fit, etc., which I don't know if I agree or disagree with, but what I will say is I don't think he was brilliant at the World Cup, or at least should I say the Brennan Johnson that I know and that I love still hasn't come out to shine either in the Premier League or in the World Cup. And maybe he's now got the World Cup monkey off his back and he can come out and perform. But I think he's had enough time this season to show, is he ready to be a guaranteed name on that team sheet or not? And in my opinion, it's a no. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree. Look, there's probably going to be some of you that chuck some hate comment down below, but understand the point I'm making here. Understand that I've said since the start of the season, he is one of our most talented players, but the collective of the team is more important than the individual. I will always stand by that. Doesn't matter if it's Brennan or if it's Morgan Gibbs-White or if it's Lodi, the three players that I love the most in this team, or Freuler, I would chuck into that list. If they're not performing, then their place should never be guaranteed. There should be no player that has a guaranteed place in a starting 11. It never works. If you look at what happened with Ronaldo at Manchester United, that causes unrest if he's still shoehorned into the team when he's not performing. You could say the same with many other players. I can't be bothered to spam you with examples, but I'm sure you get the point I'm trying to make there. So really for me, it's Brennan Johnson who comes out. And I would switch to a 4-2-3-1. I just think the balance there would be perfect. Can you imagine Scarpa, MGW, Dennis, or I know a lot of you guys will say Lingard on the left-hand side with a Woney or a striker we may pick up in the January window? That front four, or should I say that three across the middle, is just so tasty on paper. I think it could perform on the pitch as well. And then in behind them, I would have maybe a Freuler and a Mangala, I think would be a really good combo. Or you could go Yates and Mangala, something like that in the two. I think if it's a two, it works better with Freuler and Mangala, basically because Freuler does work in a two. He does it all the time in Switzerland. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts on it. But let's jump back to talking about Scarpa. Couple more things I want to mention about my boy Scarpa. Yes, I will admit he's probably now officially my favorite Nottingham Forest player, yet he hasn't even kicked a ball. I know I'm gassing him up. I know I'm overinflating him, but I don't care, guys. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a representative of Nottingham Forest. All I am is a fan sharing my opinion. And I think I'm allowed, and you guys are allowed as well, to go either way on this. But I am allowed, if I want, just to get on board the hype train and see what station I have to get off at. Hopefully I ride it right to the end of its destination. But anyway, the point I want to talk about Scarpa is there's a couple of things he said that have actually really pleased me. Firstly, when he did his interview, he didn't talk about the history of Nottingham Forest. I've mentioned this in a previous video before, but to me, that always comes across as sound bites from new players who just want to score a quick point. Not in a bad way. I'm not saying it in a bad way, but with the fan base. He's just come in and he said it's been a dream of his to come and play in Europe. He hasn't specifically said Nottingham Forest, but he's clearly shown he's embraced it. So he's quite honest in why he's here. And I like that. I like it a lot. He's also already friended up with Lodi. Clearly they know each other. Clearly there's that Brazilian connection as well. So that's really good to see as well. But it's his infectious enthusiasm that's just going to raise it up and up as well. And his language, there are no language barriers with him and English. He's brilliant. Add on to that intelligence off the pitch. He constantly likes to read books. He constantly is on those Rubik's Cubes. And he is on that bloody skateboard. Now, do you stop him from skateboarding as fear of injury? Skateboarding is one of the easiest sports to get injured in. Do we want to see him injured? Of course not. But do you want to take that element of his personality away by stopping him from skateboarding? I don't know. What do you guys think? For me, let him be and let's just pray his ankles are made of steel. But I don't know. Maybe the club will tell him, watch it, mate. But I don't think they will. I don't think they will because he's talked about it too much and it makes up too much of his personality. Let me know what you guys think. So to summarize, yes, I'm going over the top. Yes, I'm going to regret some of the stuff I've said, no doubt. I hope I don't. But I'll say it again anyway because I don't care. I'm just a fan. He is going to change the season for us. Clip it, record it, repeat it, do whatever you want with it. But I've said it and I've said it on record. This is the biggest signing we have made outside of Niakate this season. He is going to change everything. Oh boy, am I going to regret saying that. But that's the point I'm going to finish this video with. Do you agree with me or do you not? Can you see Scarpa taking control of this team and lighting up the City ground and getting us on the edge of our seats? Actually, one more thing to add. He is going to the Greek tour. He is potentially going to be playing in those friendly matches as well. We will have all those matches here on the channel with watch-alongs. Do not miss it. It is going to be so exciting. Like, I don't care about friendlies, but now I'm going to treat them like they're the goddamn Champions League final, in my opinion. Because if we get to see Scarpa, I'm going to be on the damn ceiling. Guys, before you leave, please do, as always, hit that like button. If you are new here, if you are hyped for Scarpa, subscribe to the channel. If you want to carry on supporting us, we need 11 new members, and then we will be adding, of course, the Scarpa emoji to the members. So if you haven't signed up yet, hit that join button just down below. The big red join button. It's 99p. It's less than a cup of tea, and it supports the channel no end. Thank you guys so much for watching. Come on, Scarpa, and come on, you Reds.